Hi, amigas.
Hi, amigos.
Yes, we are saying hi, amigos now because why are we saying hi, amigos now? Letty, tell us why.
So, we had some feedback from our male listeners, and they want to feel included when we do
Yes.
our intro. So, we will now be saying hi, amigos,
So
along with
shout
hi,
out to
amigas.
our fellas listening in to the podcast.
Hi,
I
guys.
feel like we're going to be giving you guys some real advice to help you with your ladies. So,
We're going
or
to
fellow
get
men.
today, this episode, we're going to get into the real chisme, what you
We
guys want
are,
to
dude.
hear.
Yes. And you might have noticed that this is not Letty. This is producer Gio. Say hey.
Hi, amigas and amigos. Thank you for having me here today.
We finally hooked him up with the microphone.
I just stole Letty's.
Did we get sponsored? Is that what happened?
Did HelloFresh come through? No.
This is coming to you.
Is that why I'm in my
Simply Safe.
kitchen?
I know. Wait, Letty, are you going to do a cooking segment? Because
Yeah.
Letty is in a nice kitchen.
Thanks, guys. Shout out to my boyfriend Carlos. He's the one that did all the remodel.
It looks
guys,
really good, dude. The finishes, the colors, real nice.
If I showed you guys the kitchen before, my goodness, the guy thought he thought he was an artist, but he wasn't. Just kidding. Hella sad. I'm kidding. But yeah, so Abby and I are coming to you guys a little bit different this time. We are 2 hours away, but we're still making it happen for you
Yes,
guys.
because we are 100% dedicated. We want to bring you guys that weekly content. And I think this is great. I mean, this is kind of like our social distancing edition. And I don't know, we're just like adjusting. I think that hopefully everything comes out good. You could see us and you guys still love it.
You can hear us, hopefully. Gio has done a good. We've been on for like an hour and a half trying to figure out the audio.
I know. I swear. I feel like we've already gone through like 2 episodes of Sanity sessions because I'm telling you, this is us just chatting. Like we're like this all the time.
We should have been recording because there were some good cheese.
We were having some good talks just now.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, so aside from the new microphone for our producer, I mean, what else is new this week, Leti?
So we are actually getting into a little bit of tea this time.
Yes.
Abby's going to start us. We're going to get more personal with our relationships because I know everybody is in different types of relationship. Abby's married. I'm necessarily not married, but I'm in a serious relationship with my boyfriend. As we had mentioned in a previous podcast, we live together. And in conversations with Abby and myself, we realized that, we live two different types of lives, I guess you can say. So, Abby, as I don't know if we've mentioned it, but Abby got married at a really young age.
Yeah, I think we I threw in a little remark in there last episode when we were talking about how, Giovanni was not playing around. He put a ring on it real quick.
Yeah, Abby. So tell us what it was like getting married at a young age and how you feel that has impacted your relationship.
So I mean, I got married kind of like how I said when I was 19 going on 20. It was actually in June, the month before my birthday, and Giovanni was 18 years old. Yes, he's a year younger than me.
Cougar. Can we say
I know.
cougar?
I swear. And his birthday's like what? 8 days apart from mine.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, when it's my birthday and I'm 2 years older than him, he swears I'm a cougar. But I mean, like so we kind of met after I had gotten out of a serious relationship with, my first boyfriend. I mean, we were together for like 2 years. I want to say it was like my first very long-term relationship. So I remember meeting Giovanni. I feel like I need to go into how we met. And so I also did mention I grew up in church and church has always been like a big part of my life. And Giovanni also grew up in church and both of our dads, were pastors. And so a friend of mine went to his church. And she had told me like, oh, hey, Abby, we're going to go like on a youth outing. And so it's just going to be the young people from the church and they were going to go to Great
I like
America.
how you say the young people.
Yeah. No old people allowed. I'm just kidding. We did have like 2 adult chaperones because it was my friend's mom and it was my future mother-in-law who didn't know she was going to be my mother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
She was driving the big old Tahoe that you guys had. Oh my God, Giovanni, how big are the wheels on that Tahoe?
There were 23s. And they
Oh
were
my
big,
God.
yeah.
I know. I remember he used to have such a hard time turning in that car.
Yeah. You can barely do U-turns in it. If anybody can relate, I'm sure plenty of people can, especially if you're like over 25. the big dub wheel.
So that was my first introduction to the Tahoe with the rims. And like, I remember I went in the same car with them. I mean, there wasn't that many of us. Like it was you, 2 other guys. One of them was your cousin. And then it was me and my friend. And then the 2, adults. And so I remember riding in the back with my friend and like they didn't talk to us. So there's 3 rows in the Tahoe, right?
Right.
And so Giovanni was and his cousin and the other, friend were in the middle row. And my friend and myself, we were in the 3rd row. We were way in the back. And I remember they didn't talk to us. All they had on were like their headphones listening to, what was it? Like an iPod or MP3 back in the day?
I don't even remember.
We are aging
But yeah,
ourselves, dude.
Girl, it was the MP3. There was
my
no iPod.
God.
It wasn't
It
an
was
iPod.
the
I think
MP3.
the first time I used an iPod was remember your little
My
red iPod?
little nano iPod. Who remembers the nano?
Girl, me. I had a nano flexing on those little middle schoolers.
Shoot, I thought I was so bad with my little nano, but yeah, I don't
took
think I
that
had it
over.
yet. I didn't have it yet, but he had like his MP. It was like a big old thick MP3 player, and yeah, they didn't talk to us. They only talked to each other. And I was just like, wow, like I've never been on this kind of outing. Like when I've gone to amusement parks with other like young kids, we've always hung out together. Oh my gosh. As soon as we got to Great America, which Leti, have you been to Great America?
I've never been, no.
Amiga, we need to go. when things
COVID-
open up, we need to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we go to Great America, we go to the entrance, and then right away, like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about your sister that also went. She was really little.
Yeah,
she was really little.
young.
And so I just remembered because my mother-in-law took his little sister and they went somewhere. I think they went to like the little kids rides because she was little.
Yeah.
And Giovanni and the guys, they went somewhere else and they just left me with my friend and her mom. And I was like, wow, I thought we were going to hang out, But they left us. They were like, dude,
Let me
bye.
ask you, Abby, were you already eyeing Gio? Is that why you were
I wasn't
upset that he was hanging out with the boys and you were?
No, I am that person. And amiga, I'm this person. I like to have a good time. I like people to hang out and chat and get to know each other. Like I'm that social person.
Right,
That's
yeah.
me. Giovanni, especially back then, was not that person. He
Complete
wasn't.
introvert.
Yeah. Can you tell him why you didn't want to hang out with me right off the bat? Our listeners want to know.
Were you intimidated by Abby's beauty?
No, I just, to be honest, I wasn't really into talking to church girls. So I never really talked to church girls growing up.
But wasn't your dad a pastor? Is that what you said?
He was, but I just wasn't. I just wasn't into it.
Did you like the bad girls then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, probably.
He's not lying. No, I'm just kidding.
He was like, sorry, Abby, you ain't a little baddie.
I wasn't. I really wasn't. I mean, can I tell you what I wore to this theme park? Because y'all are going to look at me like I'm insane. And it's part of the story. I guess this is going to be like how we met and why we got married so early. But I swear, I love our story of how we met because it's so funny. It's just funny. So I wore like my cute little jean skirt and a little shirt. Like I thought I was looking real cute. And then like my dumb self, like I freaking wore these wedges. Like I'm like,
To
who
the theme
wears
park?
wedges
Hold
to
up.
a theme park? That was me, girl. Remember I told you in high school I was that girl wearing heels to school every day?
Okay.
I was the girl
okay.
wearing wedges to the freaking theme park. That was me.
But did you have like a backup pair of shoes, or
I
you were gonna
didn't.
go
I
full
was
on
an
on these
idiot, dude.
wedges?
I was an idiot, dude. I thought like, I wear heels every day. Like I could do this, right? And they were
Yeah.
my most comfortable wedges. And okay, they were like the material on the bottom. How do I explain, babe? You're gonna have to insert a picture, but it's like that kind of like that woven type fabric. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the
Like
espadrilles.
espadrilles, or I don't know what
Yeah.
you call it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those. And like I swore they were so comfortable. I was like, I can last a whole day walking around at a theme park in them. Girl, that was not the case, but it's part of the story. So yeah, so then I'm hanging out with just, my friend and her mom, and we're waiting in lines because the lines are so long at Great America. And I don't know how it happened. I think like in the middle of the day, it was more towards the middle of the day that we were already there. We go to get on the ride, and I specifically remember the ride. It was like that boat ride where it goes like up and then it comes down and it splashes everybody. That's literally the ride.
Oh,
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they have some of like one of those at Six Flags.
Yes. And so we were going to go get in line, and then Giovanni and his friends were also going to go get in line at the same exact time. And so we decided to wait in line together. And I think that's when, like, I don't know, you tell them, like, because after that point, you started actually talking to me.
I don't remember.
You don't remember this? You
No.
have, like, the best memory.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
I guess I didn't make an impact that I thought I did. Just kidding.
Amiga, those wedges were probably not it. Sorry, Hanny, the wedges were not cute. I'm just kidding.
They didn't work for me.
No, I do remember standing in that line. We were in that line for a long time. Huh?
We were.
But I don't remember any conversation going on. To be honest with you, I think the thing was I wasn't too into church at that time. Even though we were going, I grew up in the church. I was a little bit rebellious at that time. Me and my cousin would like sneak out at night because I had just gotten my car at that time. So we would sneak out to
Okay.
parties and stuff. And I wasn't really into church girls.
But what happened in the line that like changed your mind about even like having a conversation with me?
Oh, I thought you were really pretty.
Oh,
So I was talking to
I'm
you.
just kidding.
But then you were your friend's friend. I don't want to say any names and make anybody feel bad or anything.
He thought my friend was weird. So
Aw.
yeah, so he thought my friend was weird, and so and this is what he told me. Like he's like, I thought she was weird, and so I thought because you were her friend, you were really weird too.
Wow, Giovanni was judging a book by its cover. So shallow.
He was. So anywhere, whenever they tell you are your friends, they are not lying. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess he thought I was weird. And I think in that line when he would like hear me talk, or I've always been this person. I've always joked around. I've always like been loud and friendly. Like that has always been me. And so I think like he noticed like, oh, she's actually kind of funny,
Yeah, that's probably what drew Giovanni to start that conversation with you.
Yeah, and so probably him listening, and I'm all speaking for him because he better agree. Don't just like, but like him probably listening to me and stuff, he probably thought like, okay, she's kind of cool, And so then after that, we went on all the rides together. Like I don't think we separated after that with the young group. So I feel like I brought everybody together. No, I'm just kidding.
You did that, amiga. That's
That
what
was
the
all
amigas
me.
do.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that's kind of how we met. And then I remember I had to end up buying some flip-flops because those shoes, oh
They
my
were not
God,
the
my feet
comfiest?
were dying. Yes, my feet were dying. I had to buy some flip-flops. And then I carried around my shoes like in a bag or whatever. Little did I know those shoes like make your feet smell funny. Like,
Girl,
and of
you
course
had Dorito feet. I
and
know you had
then, oh my
Dorito
God.
feet.
And of course they got wet right after that ride. And so like my feet, oh my gosh, they smelled so bad. Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. And so like on the ride back, they were making fun of me because of like how my feet smell. Do you remember that?
Oh
I
my
don't remember
God.
that.
Yeah, your cousin was making fun of me.
I don't remember that. I'm
No.
sorry.
So on the way back though, they were talking to us. So they would turn around and like actually like talk to me. No, just kidding. But they would
Girl,
talk
you know,
to us.
they were like, can you guys lower these windows because it smells like Doritos?
They really were though, dude. They really were. So I laugh about that story because I'm just like, oh my God, like I had bad feet or my feet smelled bad, but he still liked me. So I knew he was real.
He saw through all the flaws, amiga. That's how you knew he was the one. So what age did you guys end up getting married?
So yeah, so I kind of went through. So
There's
we
a whole lot
met.
before that, Leti. Hold on.
So we met and I was 18 and he was 17.
Were you 18 already?
Yeah. Was I? Yeah, I was. I was 18 because
Yeah,
I
think
was
you were-
already in
yeah, you were
college.
you were at sex.
Yeah, so I was already in college when we met. And so I remember like, oh my God, Leti, I have to tell you what he would text me every day. Because honestly, I wasn't into him.
Can you just talk about how you hated on my outfit that day?
What?
Yeah, she like so. I didn't know how to dress back then, but back then people didn't dress very well either.
No.
So I was wearing like
Obviously, I didn't either.
I think I was wearing white shorts, a white t-shirt, and a San Francisco Giants jacket. And I remember Abby was like, "Ooh, I really like the San Francisco Giants. That's a nice jacket." And I was like, "I don't really like
I don't
that."
even remember that.
I wasn't even into baseball really.
Wow,
but
you
I-
were
wearing
fake,
it.
just wearing
I
a
did-
Giants jacket.
I did like the Bay Area baseball teams, I guess, because I grew up and when I was really little, the A's were really good. Remember that?
Your dad's
Uh,
a big Ace fan, yeah.
But that jacket, my brother Joaquin, it used to be his jacket, but he went off to college. um, so everything that he had became mine because he didn't need it in college. Shout out to Joaquin if you're listening.
Thanks for the Giants
I'm
jacket.
covering up.
Giovanni, you thought you were going to get all the ladies with that Giants jacket.
It worked. It worked. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's what made Abby like me. It was more the jacket.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, but on the drive back, I don't remember the feet thing.
You
But-
don't?
No,
Good. I'm
it's a
just
good
kidding.
thing that I don't remember that because that's weird. But
He said that's
I
weird.
do remember talking. I remember we were playing like these riddle games, and you would come up with weird riddles that we would solve right away.
Dang, I was trying to play games back in the day too.
I know.
Yeah. It was fun, I guess.
Yeah, so anyway, he found me on MySpace a little bit after that. Who remembers MySpace?
MySpace. Was Giovanni on your top 5?
Or the top 8?
I made it to the top 8.
You made it. Yeah. You,
Yeah, and
Eventually.
he would message me on MySpace, and I remember back then MySpace. I think I had a ton of my graduation photos,
Mhm.
and I'm sure he was probably looking at them like, "Who are your friends, and why do they think they're gangsters?" Because I did have a lot of friends that swore they were like norteños, right?
Did I think that?
Yeah, because you mentioned it to me like after you were like, "Why do you have a bunch of guys on here like wearing red and all this stuff?" Like they
Oh,
swear.
yeah.
Yeah, he was always hating. He's always been that guy. No, I'm just kidding. But
You know what it is? It's because I'm from a part of Sacramento that is, I think it's more urban. I would say a little more ghetto. So when I saw when I saw the people you were hanging out with, as me and my cousin, I won't say his name, but he knows who he is. My cousin.
because though.
But we would always make fun of them because they were ghetto fabulous. You know, all these kids from the north, like from North Sac, not from like the north.
The North.
Not a northern southern.
The North
thing.
Pole. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, but the kids in North Sacramento, they were all like ghetto fabulous. They all dressed nice. Like I remember in South Sac when we would dress up, it was like nice clothes, but nice clothes from the Chinese store.
oh,
Yeah, I remember that.
Like
From
Yeah.
the remate.
Remate.
yeah, nowadays, yes, like the remate clothes.
Shout out to Denials.
like-
I'm just kidding.
like maybe Fubu or do you remember
Fubu?
Perry Ellis?
I do.
Yeah,
I think
like Perry
Perry Ellis is
Ellis.
still a thing.
I think even like Echo, like we would wear
Echo.
Echo. No, but like the fake Echo, like not the real thing.
What
like,
was it, Gecko?
So-
No,
I remember
just
the
kidding.
first time I
The,
wore real
the
Echo.
rhino was like upside down.
The first time I remember wearing real Echo was remember when we went to the outlets and we bought clothes? That was probably like the first real Echo, or
Really?
maybe Macy's. Yeah, but it wasn't until we got together that I first started wearing
Dang,
it.
I stepped
I
your
thought my
game up
parents were
in
poor.
all ways. No, I'm just kidding.
I thought my parents were poor, and you know.
You leveled up, Giovanni.
He married up. Let's just say that. No, I'm just kidding.
But you didn't know me because okay. But
He's like, I'll take it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I had bad style, and these kids from the north, they would wear like nice clothes. I remember when I first moved up to the north side of town. When I went to school, I tried to dress nice with what I had, but it was like button up shirts.
Mhm.
I remember one time I wore these black slacks, and this kid made fun of me. He was like, "Hey man, what are those, like fake Dickies?" And I was
Oh my
like, "These are just like black pants, like." I guess like that's the look I'm going, like they were like fitted, like they weren't slacks, they were more like Dockers.
Oh.
They probably were Dockers.
Mhm.
Probably not Dockers. They weren't the real thing, because I like I said, I always thought we were poor, and even when we moved into the big house,
The big house, not prison. Don't say it like that.
even when we moved into the big house, my parents moved into a big house on the north side of town. I still, when my mom would take me to buy clothes, I wouldn't ask her to take me to buy clothes unless it was my birthday. I would try to stay like under $100, because I was like,
Unless it was your birthday.
I was living like, or shopping like we were on a shoestring budget. And I guess as I got older, I started to like think about it a little more. Like, you know, here we are in this big house. I'm sure my parents can afford to buy me like a pair of shoes. Actually, yes. That later on in high school, maybe senior
Your
year.
parents were keeping you humble, it sounds like. We love
Letty,
it.
you don't even know. Like,
Oh no, I know.
so maybe like senior year, maybe I went and bought some Jordans. And they were from the Remate. They weren't even real. I remember those
Dang,
Jordans
it
I
was
had when we
a
first
Yeah,
started. They
I
were fake.
remember.
But now you know they're fake.
Dang, you were fake
Yeah.
even back then. No,
Uh,
just kidding.
Yeah.
Dang, you're really coming for Gio.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me lift him up.
Yeah, but
Just
no,
kidding.
I mean, in the neighborhood I grew up in, nobody wore that stuff. You know,
Mm.
we were wearing like, what were they called? Lugs or Ugg? Not
Lugs.
Lugs. My
Lugs.
brother
Do you
had
remember those,
lugs.
Letty? I know my brother used to wear those too.
Yeah.
My brother
so
thought he was real fly with the legs. So I can see you actually, Giovanni, now because I know you. I can see you in that style, like with lugs, maybe a buttoned up shirt and maybe some jeans. I could see that kind of vibe from you.
spiky hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did have the spiky. I love how this turned into a fashion Geo moment.
Yeah, kind of embarrassing now. Yeah, my wife made me a lot better. Right?
Oh, thank you.
Maybe
Just kidding.
here I am.
Okay.
Now I'm wearing. Why I always wore pink, huh?
You kind of did. I remember. I don't know. I feel like we can go into this like real deep and tell you guys like some great stories of when we first started dating and all that. Because I remember like I don't think I knew you played the guitar.
Mm.
And I remember going to church one time and we had just gotten together. And my family, like, we went to his church, and I guess one of the
And
girls,
that was it for me.
the
We'll get to that.
one of my friends from church, the girls, I guess like she would always tell me about this guy. Let me tell you guys, Leti, you're gonna love this story. So she would always tell me about this guy at school. And she'd be like, oh my God, he's so funny. He's in this class with me and he sits somewhere. I forget where she would say. And like, oh yeah, and he talks to me, but he is so funny. I think he's so cute. Like she would always talk to me about him. And I'm like, girl, just go up and talk to him. Like, or what are you waiting for? You know? And like, I'm over here trying to like help her, you know? And, so we visited his church, and this was like shortly after we got together. My family and I, we went to go visit his church. And we get there and Giovanni's up there and he's playing guitar. And he's wearing a pink shirt. This is why I remember, because he was wearing a pink shirt.
Real men wear pink.
Yes,
Giovanni.
they do. On Wednesdays. No, I'm just kidding. But he was wearing a pink shirt and he was playing guitar. So I remember that. And we walk in and we sit down. And my friend from church, she comes and she's like, oh my God, Abby, that's him. And I'm like, who?
Who?
She's like, the guy from school. And I was like, which one? You know, she's like, he's the one in the pink shirt playing the guitar. And I was like, oh my God.
What'd you tell her? That's my man. What do you mean?
I was like, how did I even tell her? I don't know how I broke her heart, but like I ended up having to break her heart and being like, oh, he's actually my boyfriend.
Wow.
Yes. I'm like, dang, Giovanni, you really broke her heart.
Okay, so it wasn't the same day. No, I think the first time that I realized that I did really want to talk to Abby, because you know, I talked to a lot of girls, and
Oh, do we want to get into that?
I talked to a lot of girls, and
That's enough. That's okay. Okay, Giovanni, we understand you're a friendly man.
Thank you, Leti.
We're not
Thank
about
you
to
for
start
standing
fighting
up
right
for
now.
me. Somebody out there is really kind. So I talked to a lot of girls, but and I never really gave church girls a chance. But that the first time you came to our church, you sang, and Letty, you mentioned that Abby sings, right?
Yeah.
So when I heard her sing, I was like, oh, okay, she sings like
Wow, amiga, you
amazing,
mesmerized
like,
him.
yeah, I was like, maybe I'll give her a chance, you know?
It was the voice.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean,
Music breaks people's hearts. So it breaks down the soul.
Yeah.
So it's true.
So I fell for Abby that day when she sang, and I think then that's when I started like messaging you a lot. But man,
He would text me every day. Let me tell you, amigas and amigos, he would text me every day. So even if like the person you're really into does not like right away share the same interests, let me tell you, Giovanni was so persistent. And I remember because I wasn't into him, amiga. I really wasn't into him. He wasn't like my type, really.
Was
he
it
just
because
wasn't.
he was a church boy? I'm
No,
just
it
kidding.
wasn't
I think it was the
that.
white
Like,
shorts.
Or because he wasn't.
white shorts
no,
and the
no. I
white
think it
t-shirt.
was like his fashion or a little bit
Yeah.
like.
Abby was really
I
shallow.
was not shallow, okay,
really
but
shallow.
I don't know because he was like really quiet and just like I don't know what it was. I can't even like pinpoint why I just wasn't into him, but. Every day, amiga, since he got my number, because he got my number, like he was smooth in getting my number, but he would text me every day, amiga. And
How
let me
did I
tell
get
you
your
what,
number.
it was on MySpace.
Yeah, I
He
was like,
told
wait,
me
you had a phone?
it was on MySpace because he would message me, and then he finally like thought of an excuse on how to get my number. And I knew it was an excuse, but I'm like, I'm just gonna give him my number. Like I'm that nice person, like I'll give you my number. And he would
Wow, thanks for being nice to me.
I know, so that was the window. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean he would text me every day. And he would text me. Let me tell you what he would text me. Every day, every single day, he'd be like, "Sup with you."
Bill?
But it was like I don't know, amiga. It was like
Don't
sup.
judge me, Leti.
Like it was SUP and then WIT wit, right? Because it wasn't with, it was wit,
Yeah.
and then it was
Yeah.
U, the letter U. Every day. Some days I would respond. I'd be like, "Oh, not much. What's up with you? How's it going?" But most days I wouldn't even respond to him.
That's
Wow,
messed up.
Giovanni.
I know
How
I
did
wouldn't.
That was so.
How
messed
did
I
up.
that
left
make
you on
feel?
red.
That was okay.
Wait, she
Did
wouldn't
you know? Like
respond.
I wasn't responding. Like you could tell.
So like I said, I talked to a lot of girls.
Okay.
So you were texting the same message to all the other
Yeah,
girls, or
it's
what?
kinda
Sup with you went to a lot of people. It probably
Giovanni,
didn't
the
go to your.
sup with
It probably
you?
didn't go to your
I'm
friend.
dead. I didn't even know this.
I told you that, didn't I?
You never told me that you texted everybody sup with you.
I mean, it kind of sounds like an amiga because, like, if he wasn't even like trying. He was like, "Sup with you, girl? Sup with you too? Sup with you?"
Yeah. You ever see those videos on TikTok where it's like a girl showing like how she caught somebody, like some guy talking to a bunch of girls because he group chatted everybody?
Yeah.
That could have been me. Like
Dang.
Abby could have had me on.
Wow.
Yeah, but I never.
Dang.
Luckily I never group chatted you. But yeah, I was talking to a lot of girls, and but no, I did really like Abby. That's why I kept messaging like every day.
Yeah,
I'm
I wouldn't
sure.
respond. I guess I thought like, I don't know. He was really persistent. I wasn't into him, but I remember like we started talking on the phone, I think. Did we
Mm.
ever talk on the phone or no?
I don't.
No, I don't
remember
think we
when
talked on
started
the phone.
talking.
I remember my friend would invite me over to his house, and like I remember it was like Christmas time. You guys like had a Christmas dinner or something, and she invited me, so I went over. And like his family had this super long table, and that's like where everybody sat. His brothers were there with their families, and then their church was there. And I remember I sat on one end of it. He sat on the other end of it, like right across from me, but across from this long table. And in the middle, there was like a sorry, that's my straw. There was like a glass vase. And I don't know if he didn't think I could see him, but Giovanni freaking stared at me throughout the whole thing. Like every time I would look at him, he was staring at me, dude. Like the whole time.
He
And
was
I'm
making
like,
sure.
and I kind of was like, do I talk to him? Do I not? Like, I mean, he was staring at me through the whole time. And I remember being like, dang, like he has a staring problem or something, you know? And I was just like trying to talk to my friend over there. And then I remember they went upstairs to go play video games in his room.
Mhm.
All the guys went up there. And I love video games. Like I grew up with brothers, so I love playing video games. And I was like, oh, I want to go play, you know? So I went up there and like his cousins were there and other people, and my friend went up there with me. And I was like, oh, let me play. Let me get in, you know? And I forget what game you guys were playing. Was it like Street Fighter or what was it? Because it was a battle game. It was like
I can't
kick,
remember.
I don't know,
Weren't we
something.
playing NBA Jam or something like that?
No.
We were playing Sega Genesis.
You were playing something, and so I was like, "Oh, can I play?" You know, and of course they were like, "Oh yeah, you can play, right?" And so I'm just playing, and then all of a sudden, I remember my friend's mom came upstairs, and she was like, "Oh, why are you guys in here? You guys should go downstairs." Yeah, because I guess as girls we couldn't be up there with the guys.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Yeah.
Heck,
Yeah,
man.
she kicked me out of there, and I was like, "Oh shoot, okay." So that's why, like,
I
I
must have
couldn't
been
even.
so mad.
I don't know, but yeah, she kicked us out. So then I had to go downstairs. But I remember, dude, he was like staring at me the whole time. The whole time.
Did
Well,
he talk to you while you were playing video games?
No, he didn't talk to me.
Wow, Giovanni, you were like sup with it, but didn't talk to her in person.
Yeah,
I
you
was
would
being
text
really-
me a
I
lot,
was
but he
being-
wouldn't talk to me.
I was being really.
He was
creepy.
shy.
Yeah, you were. Like, he just wouldn't talk to me. But I remember, like, at some point he asked me if I wanted to be his girlfriend.
How did we get from staring at you through the glass vase? To
I don't
being-
know.
Asking to be.
I don't know.
We're summarizing.
I don't even know. I don't even know where we started talking.
We're just summarizing, but yeah, he had asked me to be his girlfriend, and I said no. And I said no because, like I said, I had just gotten out of a serious relationship, and I told him, like, look, I'm going to school full time, and I work full time. Like, I'm not gonna have time for you, you know. And I remember I had said no, and my mom. Which my mom is the whole reason we're together. I
Thank
told
your
her
mom.
about
It
it.
wasn't because I like asked you to be my girlfriend or anything, or yeah. Okay.
But I told my mom about him. I was like, Mom,
did
you
you
know Giovanni, right? And she goes, yeah. I go, well, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I had told him no. And she's like, oh, why'd you tell him no? And I was like, well, I work full time. I go to school full
'Cause
time.
I wanted to tear his heart out.
Because I wanted to tear his heart out. But she was like, Abby, I think you should really give him a chance. You know, he grew up in church. He's a pastor's son. Like, you should really give him a chance. And I was like, wow, my mom has never
Wow.
told me that
Can-
about
Can
anybody.
you tell them the real reason you told me no?
Why?
You don't remember.
What was
Oh.
the real reason? Look at Leti.
I'm over here like, are we about to start fight? I'm scared. Just kidding.
Didn't you talk to your friend and she told you?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
What?
So my
Tell
friend
me.
was not a fan of Giovanni. She really wasn't.
Wait, are you and her still friends now?
No.
Oh,
And I'll
okay.
tell you why. She was not a fan of him. So when she found out that like we were talking, she was so mad. Like, she was so mad about it. And she's like, you shouldn't talk to him because he talks to other girls. I think he has a girlfriend, which ended up being true, by the
No.
way.
Yeah.
And so she was the one like actually
Wow.
looking out for me. And she was like, yeah, he has a girlfriend. And she's like, you can't trust him. And da da da. And I was like, okay.
I don't know how she.
How did I not believe her? Because you actually did.
Say that she didn't even know me.
She must have.
How though? Because I never talked to girls in front of church people.
I don't know, but she knew. Yeah, she knew.
Giovanni had a
careful
whole
about that.
system.
No, because I remember growing up in church, people would talk about each other. If you ever went to church, I mean, I'm sure you can relate. People talk about all the
The
minister
chisme
kids.
is real.
And my dad was
Ooh,
a
I gotta start
pastor.
going to church. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a Sanity sessions
The-
like church edition.
Church edition. I saw amiga. So when she found out that we got together, she stopped talking to me.
Wow.
To this day, she doesn't even talk to
What do you
me.
mean back
She
together?
really
We never
wasn't
got apart?
supporting your guys'
No, I say when we
relationship.
got together,
Yeah.
she stopped talking to me.
Really?
Yeah, and dude, I used to do a lot for my friends because at the like I'm always down
Mhm.
for my friends. I like felt betrayed by that. I was like, wow, you're gonna stop talking to me over some guy?
Yeah.
Like how I don't know how that happened, but yeah. So his family to this day swears that she liked him, and that's why like she probably stopped talking to me.
Giovanni was probably talking to her on the side. Were you, Giovanni? Tell us
I know.
the
Was
truth.
she getting us up with you text? No, just kidding.
No, she wasn't.
He's like, I didn't even have her on
I
MySpace.
I don't know if she. That's what my mom says.
But yeah, she stopped talking to me.
I don't know that she did though.
I don't know.
Because I always kind of knew when girls liked me. I knew you didn't like me.
You knew my friend from church liked you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you know how I was staring at you through the vase.
She was staring at you.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But I don't know. So we got together and I don't know. I feel like our relationship was just so quick. I think when we turned a year, he was like, let's get married. Like, I want to marry you. Like, and he
wow,
was so serious about it. And he went and bought me a ring. As soon as he turned 18, he was like ready to propose. And yeah, so just a quick recap. Like he proposed to me and I still remember where it was and everything. Anytime we go to Sacramento, I'm always like, look, and he'll tell Gabriel, look, Gabriel, that's where I proposed to your mom. Like he'll
that's
show
sweet.
him. And yeah, we got married like 6 months after. So I think we were together for like a year and a half before we even got married.
Wow,
So-
that's really. But you know, it's like they say, like when you know, you know.
When you know,
right?
you know.
And
And Giovanni, as you can tell, he was obsessed, which who can blame? No, just kidding.
Can we talk about your friend though? So she told you that I was talking to girls.
Yeah, she
What else
did.
She tell you?
That's all she told me, that you were talking to other girls, that you had a girlfriend at the time, and that I
And
shouldn't trust you.
And Abby asked me if I had a girlfriend.
And you
too.
told me no, so you lied to me.
Yeah, I
Because
said no.
Amigas and Amigos, he really did have a girlfriend.
Wow, Giovanni.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry to her.
To her. I'm like, I don't think she listens.
She probably hates you because you proposed to Abby and not her.
You think she's still out there waiting?
Dang.
So, what was it like? Because you said you were 18, right?
Yes, no, I was 19 and he was 18. So I quickly turned 20 like a month after, and then he turned 19. But oh my God, can I tell you guys, like, that first year was really hard. Like, when I look at our entire marriage, and I mean, we're going on 13 years
Mhm.
married. When I look at that first year, it was so hard. Like, it was so hard. And I think it was because, one, we're getting used to living together. I'd never lived with a man.
A
You know?
man.
So we're getting used to living together. And then like Giovanni was laid off from his job. And I was like stressed about it. I was so stressed about it. I had a really good job and I had like a boss that like just really took care of us. And I mean, she gave us money for our wedding. She gave us
Oh,
money for
wow.
our honeymoon. Like, I swear she'd always be like, one day she'd be like, Abby, I noticed you only make this. I'm going to give you a $2 raise. I'm like, okay. Like, she was that kind of person, you know?
Nice.
Where are those bosses?
I
at?
know. Where are they at now? But yeah, so I think I would say like the first year is really hard. It was just really hard for me, and I wasn't as supportive to Giovanni as I should have been. I think I grew resentful during that year because, one, we just got married. So now, you know, we're paying for everything, and we had a rent and car payments and all that. And it was just really stressful. And I think I took it out on him a lot, even though like Giovanni was out there looking for work, like he was applying and all that. And he would cook and he would clean. I mean, he would just like take care of everything.
Holding it down at the
He really
household, it
was, and I
sounds
was
like.
getting super resentful. I don't know. I was just like, oh my God, like, you don't help me, you don't this. Like, I don't know. And like, I regret that so bad. Like, when I look at everything, I regret it so bad because I'm like, what was my problem? Like, why would I even resent you? You were trying. And yeah, so that was just really hard.
Yeah, imagine being me. Right now, everybody's like hating you.
I
now.
know. They're probably like, fire Abby. Just
No, no. I like that you brought that up, amiga. That it's you were barely getting to know him. It's like you're being thrown into this new life. You don't know this person, and when you start living with somebody,
And
it's
we're
when
still
you
super
start
young.
seeing, exactly how they are.
Like, what was your experience, Leti? Because I know, like, you just moved in with your mans. So, how has that been for you?
Yeah, but so Carlos and I have been together for probably going on 4 years now. But before I moved in, him and I would spend a lot of time together.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be at my apartment for like
Yeah.
a week on end, so I kind of picked up on a lot of the habits that I didn't like. So moving in with him, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. Like, I know that he didn't always hang the towel to dry, but it's it's the little things that get on your nerves, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I kind of had a little bit of exposure, and so did he. Like, he knew that, I do laundry and I don't always put it away. Like, so he knew. I'm like, where is he at? So he can give his testimonial.
So he can expose.
Giovanni's being vulnerable. I'm like, Carlos cannot come over here and expose me. No, but it's definitely like I understand because it's difficult and it's hard to bring two lives together and make it one, right?
Yeah.
Because, even if you love that person, they're completely opposite than you, it's
No,
not
it's
the
true.
same.
And how do you feel about living together but not being married? Like, how does that change at all, or is that
So,
different?
like I said, we've been together for a long time. And before Carlos purchased his home, because this is his home, like he purchased it himself. He would always tell me, like, I'm going to buy a home, like, you're going to come with me. And I was always so opposed to that. And a lot of it had to do
Miss Independent Leti.
because you're a girl independent.
She really is.
It was that, amiga. And it was also because, like, what I always was, I guess, thoughtful of, like, what my parents would think, like my mom and my dad, right? Like,
Yep.
even though you're grown, like, their opinion,
Yeah.
I mean, it weighs on you still. And even now, right? Like, I would always tell him, no, like, you do you. Like, if this is gonna, if eventually we're going to start a life together, then I'll come, right? Because it was going to be a big transition for me because I lived in Visalia, which was like an hour away from where we live now, right? So I was literally going to have to pick up all my stuff and, move. And at that time, I wasn't ready for that. And like I said, like, my mom would always say, like, primero se tienen que casar. Like, first you have to get married, and then you can move in with this person, right?
I mean, if y'all have Latino parents, you can relate.
Yeah, so that's.
I think my family would have disowned me if I lived with Giovanni before we were married.
Living in sin.
Yeah, because the hardcore Christians, shoot.
Yeah, so, and I know that you can relate too.
Are you saying Leti's living in sin? Wow.
What? Don't come and judge me, Giovanni. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I feel like that's really common now. Because I know, like, some of, like, my family members and some of my friends, like, they move in before even, getting married. So, I mean, living with Carlos, it was a big transition for me because, like I said, I picked up my whole little life and I just packed it up and I came here with him. But, at the end of the day, like, I had battled with, like, what is my mom going to think? And, this pandemic really put into perspective. Like, I was like, you know what, if this is the person that I love, like, I shouldn't be holding back. I'm going to do what makes me happy now because tomorrow isn't promised, right? Like, why am I waiting for the perfect scenario? Because that perfect scenario might never come. And thankfully, when I talked to my mom, she was really supportive. And I still think back and she was the one that was like, you should do it. You guys love each other. Like, just do it. And I still, amiga, I think, and it was her approval is, like, ultimately why I was like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Why you decided to do it. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm telling you, mom's approval is different.
Yeah, it really is. And, I was like, we're just going to do this. Like, we're going to figure it out together. And if it's meant to be, it's going to be. And if it's not, then, at least we can say, like, hey, we tried, I tried, you tried. And,
That's
but,
true.
but no, I mean, do I want to get married one day? Of course. Like, who doesn't? Do I want to have that big wedding? Yes. Do I want to have my bachelorette? Yes.
Vegas, here we come. I'm just kidding.
Vegas, here we come. Yeah, but I mean, it's not something as like some parents would think traditional. Like, I
Right.
guess we did it the opposite way, right?
Did your dad approve too, or no?
So me and my dad have like a weird relationship. Like, my dad is very machista.
Yeah.
And for the non-Spanish speaking listeners, like, how would you describe a machista, amiga? I don't know how to describe it.
Masculine, like what would you call it?
Yeah, like, they very traditional. Like, the man is like,
It's definitely old fashioned.
yes.
Yeah.
So my dad's very machista. We have a rough relationship. So I didn't even tell him because I think my brother
He'll find out eventually.
because when I did it, we were not on talking terms, right? So him and I weren't talking. So when I decided to make the move, I mean, him and I weren't even like having any conversation whatsoever. So he only found out maybe like just recently. And honestly, I didn't even tell him. It was my brother that told him that I moved in with
Your
Carlos.
brother broke the news?
Dude, my brother.
Did he call you like Leti?
I accidentally told dad.
No, I mean, did your dad call you like Leti?
No, he didn't.
Your
I
roommate
think
is not really just your roommate.
I'm like, Dad, I haven't had a roommate for many years, but I have one now, and he's my boyfriend. No, you know what? I actually had a conversation with him today, and we never talked about it. It was kind of like, it's something that he knows. It's just not something that we've ever discussed.
Really? You've never addressed it? Okay.
We've never addressed it, amiga. Maybe one day. And, I think my family really likes Carlos, so they don't have an issue with it. I think if they thought he was like a bad person or whatever,
right, they would speak up.
They would speak up. Yeah. But no, everybody loves him. But I mean, the dynamic is definitely different. Like, because even like moving in with him, the whole conversation comes up. Well, like, are we going to have separate bank accounts or are we going to join our finances together? Because, we're creating a life. And
you have like shared expenses.
Yeah, we do. We have shared expenses. But that's always the topic. And I know when we told you guys we were going to get into the cheese, man, we're going to let you guys know like what works for us might not work for somebody else.
That's
right?
True.
Because even like in conversations with other friends, like we know, people have separate bank accounts and they're together, or
even
like,
if they're married, and that's okay.
Yeah, like you and your husband, I'm sure. Abby, do you guys have shared bank accounts?
Yeah, I mean, we've had shared bank accounts since we got married.
Yeah, since before, no?
No, since we got married.
Before,
I'm like, what?
That's what we know. I didn't even have a bank account before Abby.
Really?
Yeah, remember I used to go cash my check at the
oh yeah, you did. At the Quickie Mart.
They used to charge me like $13 to get cash out of the check cashing, and I used to walk out with like a fat stack of money.
Dang, you thought you were balling?
Yeah.
He's like, they just took $13, but we're eating good.
He's like, I can still make it rain.
I was making like $10 an hour working overtime.
Oh my god. But as soon as we got married, we had shared bank accounts. So
and how does that work? Okay, because like, let's tell the listeners that Carlos and I have separate bank accounts, even though we have shared expenses. We don't have a joint bank account. Maybe not yet, right? Maybe in the future it might be something that we want to do, but at the moment we have separate bank accounts. But how does that work, amiga? Like, now that we have Gio on the podcast, like, what? I don't know. Like, how?
Giovanni, if you expose me, we're not going to talk for the rest of the day. Just kidding.
Abby set it all up for us.
And it's so funny because, like, kind of how I mentioned in the beginning, we were just talking about this before we started the actual episode, is when we got married, I was kind of like the one paying the bills. I had all the logins and everything. And so like I was the one kind of monitoring, making the payments, and Giovanni wouldn't really handle that part of it. But And it was like that for a really long time. I was always, responsible, and I've always been financially responsible. And so like I would, make sure we made payments on time. I would tell him like, oh, hey, I'm going to pay this or whatever. And he just wouldn't really monitor things. I got sick like 5 years ago, and like really, really sick. I think one day we'll talk about it. Cause I'm sure a lot of people can relate to my story, but I got really sick, and I was intubated for a week, and so
Oh, wow.
in a coma. I was in a medically induced coma, and I remember he mentioned this to me after, but he was like, I didn't know your logins. I didn't know your username or passwords for a lot of our accounts, and I had to like figure it out and call people and to make sure that we were still, making payments and everything. Because, like I said, I always managed that. And so he had to step in because, of course, I couldn't do it. I mean, I had like a tube in my mouth. I couldn't even talk. And I remember like before they put me under, I was like trying to talk and tell them like, hey, don't forget to pay Gabriel's preschool bill. Like, I swear I'm just that person. And yeah, so ever since then, he's had access to all the accounts. I make sure that he knows logins and everything, because if tip of the week, if you guys are in a relationship, you need to know that person's login information, because God forbid anything ever happened to you or that person, that you're going to be in that situation that Giovanni was in. And so yeah,
That's a really good tip, amiga, because I'm like, oh, hey Carlos, I need all your logins now. Yeah, because unforeseen circumstances, and things need to get paid because life goes on.
Yeah, and I've heard lots of stories of that situation happening, hey, you need to know this information in case anything ever happens to me. So financially, that's definitely a recommendation. But ever since then, he has the logins now. He goes in and he checks like our bank, and he checks our, credit card accounts and stuff. And sometimes he'll be like, Abby, what is this charge for?
Yeah. What's this Old Navy? What's this H&M?
Oh, so Giovanni, you should already know if it says Old Navy, we shopping.
Oh, I know. And it's never something small. It's like, but she'll go, yeah, well, that jacket was like on sale for this much, and these pants
I couldn't pass it up. We always say that.
Big number. Like, how did it get to this number though? You're telling me about all these great deals you got, but there's this number here because Gabriel, we got him these pants. And I'm just like,
yeah, and I mean, lately it's been like Amazon. He loves to go on Amazon, and I get all the emails, and I'm like, Giovanni, what did you buy on Amazon? Giovanni, now what did you buy on Amazon? And so it's, I don't like, we don't really have like limits to where we're like, Giovanni, don't spend more than this. But if I'm going to buy like a furniture piece or something that I would say is like $300, I'm usually like, Giovanni, what do you think about this? Can I buy it, or what, do you like it? And so I do think like for purchases like that, I like to have his approval. I like for him to know. So he's not like, Abby, where's all the money?
Yeah, it sounds like communication is a big part of, having a shared bank account, right?
For sure, because I mean, he can see my purchases. I can see his. The last thing I want to be is surprised by something he bought. Like if it's a brand new computer, I'm like, Giovanni, like, why did you buy it? We're not that, yeah. So I think it's extremely important, even in a relationship, at least for you to know, what's going on. And I would definitely think that having dual access to shared information like that is important, regardless of if you're married or not,
Yeah, I think for Carlos and I, it works. I went from living in my own spot to, moving in with him. And of course, like he has everything handled. Like he makes enough to pay, the mortgage and all the other bills. Like my income is more like supplemental, Thankfully, we're in that situation, right? Because I know that's not the case for everybody.
For a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah, people live in larger cities and, their expenses are, of course, a lot higher than, like you and I. So, they have have to split bills, but I have seen couples who, I don't know if you've came across this, like you or Giovanni, where like they'll go out to eat and they're like, oh, well, I'll Venmo you my money.
I don't think I've seen that. Yeah, I've only done that with friends.
No, I've seen people do this, like who are in a relationship, like, and I've talked to Carlos about this, like, like we're not, I guess, nitpicky about stuff. Like maybe
Mm-hmm.
sometimes he'll pay for the meal, I'll pay for some stuff. Like, I'll grocery shop and pay for that. Sometimes he'll grocery shop and pay for that. Like, but no, I've seen,
Yeah, so
a
you don't actually like split it down the middle where you're like, hey,
no,
the grocery bill was 100, you owe me 50.
we don't, because
Yeah.
at that point we would be roommates.
That's true. I mean, it's really
That
true.
is. Yeah, that is. And like I said, thankfully we're in a spot where, he can handle all of the bills, and my income is more like, hey, like, do we want to, splurge on this, or,
Mhm.
whatever the case may be, but it's not always that way for everybody. But currently right now,
And
like
that's what works for you guys, you know?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like right now, having split bank accounts works for us. Like maybe in the future, I'm gonna tell him, "Hey, babe, let's listen to our Sanity Sessions episode." And
And
because
he's
these are
gonna be
all,
like, "Oh, so your income supplemental?" I'm just kidding.
he's like, "What?"
You're all, is that why you've been going to Home Goods so much?
He's like, "You spent $100 at Home Goods." I'm like, "Oh, that was me being cheap." Abby knows. Abby
I
knows.
know,
the Home
I
Goods.
know.
This plant was on sale.
We're
this
the
picture
same
was on
exact way.
sale.
We went shopping last week, and I'll tell you, like, I always thought, oh, Leti, I have to get it. It's $12. Originally, it was $29.99. She'll be
Yeah,
like,
I'm
yes,
like,
girl.
We'll walk in and we're like, we're not paying full price for nothing.
I know. We're like,
if it's
where's
on
the clearance section? Thanks.
Yeah, but like Abby said, what works for, her and I might not work for other people. I think it's important to be open to new ideas, right? Because like I said, maybe right now we don't have a joint bank account, but
Yeah.
maybe in the future we will.
But I also think it's also important to be on the same page. I know, like,
Mhm.
a while back, we had a lot of credit card debt. And we talked about it because I never really like sat down and looked at it, and we came up with a plan. I was like, Giovanni, I think we need to start focusing on this and paying it down, and that should be our goal. And Giovanni's like, I agree. We're gonna pay this amount towards it every month, and after this amount of months, it's gonna be paid off. So like I think also being on the same page, especially with regards to credit card usage. Whether you're buying things with no interest and at least having a payment plan for that to make sure you never go past that, financing period. I think that's also really important, married or not, because if you're a saver and your partner's a big spender, at some point you guys are going to fight about that because, I mean, with finances, it's so tricky.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I just feel like ever since, we've been on the same page and now having both access to all of our accounts, I think we've really gotten in a really good place.
Yeah, definitely. A lot better.
A lot better. Yeah, from when
Yeah.
we were. Yeah. And then that was another thing about getting married young. We didn't really like understand the cost of things. And I remember we had like a grocery bill for the week of $50. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I don't know how we survived.
And
on
we
that.
ate the same things every single week.
Yeah.
It was like hot dogs with chili beans.
Bomb.
It was like the Tony's pizzas. And what else would we eat?
Noodles,
Oh, mac and
hot
cheese
dogs,
was our
spaghetti,
thing. Yeah, I kid you not.
spaghetti.
That would come
the
through.
hamburger helper.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what we would eat a lot. And Giovanni would be the one to cook because back then I didn't even cook. I was sad, dude. I was sad.
Maybe
I
that's
know.
why
You know
were
what?
so
We're in this
resentful.
new era where the women don't need to cook all the time. So, props to you, Giovanni, for holding it down in the kitchen.
Well, that was our agreement. That was our agreement when we got married. I would tell him, like, look, I'll clean, I'll wash the dishes, but you need to cook. Like, because I don't know, cooking just never was my thing.
Mhm.
And I used to
Mhm.
tell my mom, I'm going to marry a chef because I'm not going to be cooking. Like,
Girl,
Yeah.
I was the same way.
Hey, I
would tell
did
my
marry a
mom,
chef,
like,
just so you know. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna hire a chef at that point, Miss Independent. I was like, I'm gonna hire someone to
There
cook
might
for
have been,
me.
there might have been hot dogs, but those weenies were like gourmet.
They were cooked to perfection.
Boiled first and then seared on the outside.
That has definitely changed since starting keto. That
Yeah,
has definitely changed. I mean, I remember I was the one that bought like the keto app to get us started on the diet. And Giovanni would be like, well, I don't have the keto app, so I don't even know how to make it. So I was like forced to make it, and I really had to learn like on the spot.
That was where things transitioned.
Yeah. So now like I really like it. I enjoy it. I like trying new recipes, especially like baking recipes. I really like those.
We weren't eating hot dogs and stuff before keto though. We did start to eat.
Oh man, we started going to eat.
Eventually.
I mean,
I
we
I
ate
know
out a
when I
lot.
met
Yeah, we
you,
did eat
Carl's
a lot.
Jr. was your thing.
It was always my thing. We'd call it CJ's.
DJs, yeah.
And, dude, since like when Giovanni blames me for making him gain all that weight,
Yeah.
because before he met me, he never ate at fast food restaurants.
We never ate. I think like maybe once a month, my dad would take us to In-N-Out after church. And that was
your treat?
That was our treat. And then when Abby and I started dating, and
I think I went to
always go
CJ's like
Carl's
all the
Jr.
time.
And then her
I
little,
love how you call it CJ's.
yeah, her little hack for ordering, like you order your meal, and on your meal you get a large fry and a medium drink. And
I always did that.
I was like, I didn't even know you could do that.
Oh
I
my
didn't know
god!
you could do that.
Wait, what's the hack?
Or large fries and a medium drink.
So I would always get my fries in a bigger size because I love fries.
I know.
Like,
Oh,
I have
okay,
a-
I see.
I didn't know you
see.
could do
I was
that
like,
though.
You didn't?
what do you?
No.
You can have your stuff different sizes?
No, I didn't go eat fast food, so I didn't
Oh,
know you
that's
could
true.
do that. And when
Oh,
my
well,
dad
that's a
took us,
hack.
you just got the regular drink. 'Cause
Well, In-N-Out
that
doesn't
was-
really have different sizes, so I guess that's
true,
probably
that's
why
true.
you didn't know.
No, yeah, I didn't know In-N-Out had different sizes. And going back to my parents being cheap. We weren't poor; they were cheap.
There's a difference.
There is. There really is.
That's why they save money because they're cheap ways.
Yeah, they have a really nice house now, and I give it to them.
They are
but
savers. They're
if they
really good
could've
savers.
just got me like a medium Coke, it would have been nice.
Girl, you're sharing it with your brothers, the fries.
But yeah, I think we ate out way too much, especially pre-keto. And so when starting keto, it was really hard. For us to even know what to eat, when we would go to places. So that's kind of what forced us to start cooking, and especially me, like start cooking. So shout out to keto for changing our lives.
Keto. I think you bring up a good point, because I think when you're in a relationship, like it has to be, I know like when my parents were growing, like, when we were being raised, like my mom did a lot of the house stuff.
Yeah, because she stayed home, right?
Yeah, my mom was a stay-at-home mom for a really long time. So, my dad expected her to,
Cook and clean.
clean, take care of the kids, and all he did was work. She did the laundry. But I like how, even how you're saying right now that Giovanni in the beginning did a lot of the cooking. And I think that's important, like, because Carlos and I have a relationship where, like, he also cleans, but, he doesn't know how to cook, at least not yet. But I'll do the cooking, but he'll help me clean. Like, he helps around the house. Like, he'll do his laundry when he has to. So I appreciate that. Like, I don't know if other people are in a relationship where, the woman
where you have the dual role. Yeah.
Yeah, or even like when the woman is just doing everything, because I think that's not right. We're equal.
No, yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen a lot of families where that's the dynamic there, and yeah, maybe it could work with them, maybe not. I know for me that wouldn't work, and the reason being is like me growing up, my family didn't have that dynamic. Like, I kind of mentioned to you, like my dad would cook, or he'd pick us up from school. And, when we had Gabriel, my dad, retired, and he retired early so he can take care of Gabriel. And so, of course, my mom was, she's the one that works. She still works to this day, and she has a really good job that she loves. And that's why she still works. But I don't know, like I think a lot of people aren't used to that dynamic where my dad was the one that was retired, staying home. He would take care of Gabriel. But if my mom needed anything, because, she has diabetes and high blood pressure, and sometimes her sugar would get low at work, my dad would be the one that she would call him. She'd be like, honey, I need orange juice. Can you bring it to me? And my dad would, of course, do it at the drop of that. Like, his service was like to my mom. He was dedicated to my mom. He was dedicated to us. So like anytime somebody needed a ride, they knew they could call my dad and he would go take them. So, my dad's not here anymore, but we still remember that. We're always like, oh, where's my dad? Like, I could just
People
call him and he
appreciate
can come
that.
pick us
Yeah.
up. And I think that's what I was exposed to is that kind of dual role. So, in marrying Giovanni, like, he cleans, he cooks, he helps me change diapers. I think one thing
Good.
a lot of people notice about him is that he's really helpful with the kids. And I mean, I don't know if it's bad to say like, well, that's what I would expect, that's their dad, he should take
Yeah.
care of him too. But I think that's not the case in a lot of families. Like the child rearing is left to the wife or the mom and that's not something like I agree with. And so I'm a pretty outspoken person and Giovanni knows like I'll speak my mind with when it comes to that. And I think it has to do with we're both Leo. So we have the same sign. And so I think he's used to it by now, but sometimes I'll be like, Giovanni, get off your phone. Come help me with this. Or Giovanni, get off your phone. We're gonna eat dinner or something. Like with him, it's his phone.
I'm always on my phone.
It's a TikTok. Just kidding. Yeah, I like
TikTok.
that. I like that. And I, for me, like that works for me as well because, I know you're a mom, right? Everybody knows you have a cute mom. And I mean, you can't do it all yourself. Like
No, it's
you need
hard.
help. You need help.
Yeah.
And like you said, like he's also the dad. So he should, have equal responsibility with, raising the kids and
And
helping
he's
take
told
care
me
of
a lot of
them.
times, he's like, Abby, you don't need to ask me to watch my own kids. And I was like, that's true. But I don't know why I don't know why I feel like that.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not in your head. But yeah, they're my kids, so of course I'm gonna take care of them.
Did you ever think like it was like the woman's job to do all that or no?
No, absolutely not. I don't know. My dad always. I don't know if he changed diapers or anything because I don't remember that.
I think your mom told me that he didn't, but he did potty train you guys.
But my dad took care of us. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that. I mean, it's
I think a
evolving
lot of
day,
it
right?
has to do with like the people you surround yourself with too, because if you have friends and, some family members who, pick up a lot of like, are like have an equal
Mhm.
relationship,
Mhm.
then, it's kind of the norm for you. But like for example, like I know like some people who like Carlos works with, like that's not the norm. Like they like expect, their wife for them to come home from work and have like a cooked meal. But
Yeah.
as with us, like Carlos, like, you don't have to cook every day. Like, it's okay, Leti. We don't have to have a clean house all the time. And I think, it has a lot to do, even if you weren't raised like that with your parents, because I mean,
Mhm.
my parents, like I said, my mom did all the cooking and cleaning. I don't do that now. So I think it has to do with a lot of like who you surround yourself with,
Right.
like, what you're seeing on, what's, I guess, like also like where you stand. Like,
Yeah.
I know like you and I are very, like feminist, female
We are.
empowerment,
Yeah. We're very
So
proud.
yeah,
Mhm.
so for me it has to do a lot with that. And thankfully he understands, right?
I think
But
for
like
me,
you
I
said.
just step up because Abby's the breadwinner here,
Oh my god.
and I I don't want to make her feel like I'm not pulling my weight.
Babe, that is not it.
Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know.
Giovanni, let's talk about that. Like, because, do you have an issue with, your wife being the breadwinner? Because, I know a lot of men feel like, it should be the male who, brings in most of the money. And, some men would, I would,
Even in like a dual household income.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I would even say that some men feel threatened when, their significant other or their wife, whatever the case may be, makes more money than them. So like, what is your take on that?
So Abby's always made more money than me. I remember when we
Flip
first
your
started.
hair, girl. Flip your
Well,
hair.
technically I'm a year older, so that makes sense.
I remember when we first started dating. Do you remember was it a date when we went to the movies?
No, it was kind of like a
So
just hanging out, at least in my
it was a date
perspective.
to
It
me.
was a date for
It was a
him.
date to me. I was staring through that face, and I was like, that day we're going to date. Our first date, I had money, but Abby insisted on paying. She didn't insist.
I
Like
pay for all my
she
friends.
she
I
offered
always
to pay,
paid.
and I didn't say no. So since then, she's always been like consistent in paying, It's probably a feminist
Well,
thing.
I had my own car.
Yeah, she
I had my own job. Like,
Get it, amiga?
I
Love
don't
it.
know how I pulled this.
I know, right?
So
It was because of her
I
mom.
was a real,
Shout out to my mom. You the
I was
real
a
one.
loser, I guess.
No, you weren't.
No, I wasn't. But so Abby's always made more money than me, even when I started with the real job. What were you making, like big bucks, like $13 an hour?
I don't know. I
making,
thought
like,
I was all
10.
bad though.
And then I got laid off. We got married. I got laid off.
Mhm.
Even when I started work again, she was making more money than me. She always made more money than me. So
Did that ever bother you? Like, did you ever
no,
even
it
think
just
about that?
It never bothered me. Probably because I was always in that situation. But I'm sure for some guys it does, especially like older people, because it used to, how it used to be, the men went to work and the mom would stay home and watch the
Mhm.
kids, I
Right.
guess. But for me, it's never been that way. It's always been,
Your parents are hard
yeah, because
workers.
my parents have
Yeah.
always worked sort of jobs, and my dad always made more money because he has a specialized type job.
Mhm.
But I'm sure if my mom made more money, he wouldn't care.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just never been one of those things that bothered me. But I might just be that one person. But I mean, you make good money. I don't want to make it seem like we're like
But it's not
millionaires
just
either.
my money, it's our money.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
that's, I
when
mean, that's
spend,
how.
when I spend our money. Yeah, definitely.
And spend it, he does. I'm just kidding. But that was actually the dynamic when I grew up. My mom always made more money than my dad.
Oh,
And
she did.
that was
Interesting.
never like an issue. My dad was never like upset about it, nothing, And I don't know, my dad was always super humble. And I think that's where I take it from, like it worked for them. And I saw how my dad loved my mom and took care of her. Everybody has their own way of showing that you care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was his way, was cooking for everybody and just always taking care of her, taking care of our family. And he always worked hard, but he always had like those fabrication type jobs. So, but yeah, it never bothered him. And so I think like in my relationship with Giovanni, that's not something that I throw in his face. Cause what is that to do? What's mine is his and what's his is mine.
Right.
So, anything that, I accomplish, whether it's in my career or my personal life, like it's our accomplishment. I remember he was just as excited when I got my certification for payroll. And he was right there with me studying every single day, asking me a million questions.
Because I knew we were going to be better off.
That's true. I mean, like he knows the hard work I put into a lot of things, and he sees it, and like he's like that guy Leti, right? I'm like, let's start a podcast. He's the guy that makes it happen. And so he's just all about succeeding, and regardless of salary or whatever, I mean, he's always that guy that was been supportive.
And you can't put a price on things like that,
No.
like even if you have a significant other who, is a breadwinner, maybe they're lacking in those areas. Like, your dad was very supportive.
Mhm.
And he was there whenever anybody needed him. He was taking care of the household. You can't put a price on that stuff. You really
No.
can't.
No. I agree. And so I think it's like kind of how we mentioned, like whatever works for you is going to work for you. Don't let anybody like come in and make you feel bad about your relationship. Like I would hope that your family or whoever, your friends, never made you feel bad that, oh, your wife, look at her, like she's this, she's that, or it's just.
I'm not the type of person that talks about finances with friends. Because I don't know. I just don't talk about finances with people. But I've never felt any certain way that Abby makes more than me. It's not a. I mean, there's been years that I made more than you. But,
Yeah.
But it's just not a big deal.
It's not a factor. Yeah. No, and I like that. I like that.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if anything, we were talking earlier with Leti, and we're actually just talking about this. And who did you say like you better not ever?
Oh.
What?
Because we were talking right now, and I was telling you, Leti, Giovanni, like, I've always told him, like, hey, if you cheat on me, like, just know that I can survive without you. I can take care of my kids without you. And it's not to say, like, I don't need you. It's like, no. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that I choose to be with you. Like, I don't have to be with you, but I choose to be with you. And so if that choice ever changes because you step out on me and start texting other girls again, no, I'm just kidding. But I'm like, just know, like, I have the means to, be independent. But I mean, it's like, I love him and I know he wouldn't do that to me, right?
No,
right? No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't do that. But like I told Abby, though, if she ever left me, I'm gonna collect alimony.
The alimony.
I have to live a certain lifestyle.
He's like, I need to maintain my lifestyle.
He's like, I'm already used to buying clothes, like brand name.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't need to be buying that fake Echo anymore.
I can't be wearing that clothes. It's hard on my skin, and now remember when we first got together, we used to buy like the cheap soaps, cheap lotions. Now I'm like,
he's living in his like Dawn soaps.
Sensitive now.
Mama, what do you mean? I'm still
Dove
frugal.
soap.
I'm so frugal.
You're still frugal.
Yeah. So yeah. But no, I would never do anything like that. And
of course you wouldn't. We'd hunt you down. The Amigas and Amigos will hunt you
Amigas
down.
and Amigos.
Today on Crime Junk, we bring you Giovanni Ramirez.
Who went missing?
No, Abby would be off the market real quick. She's attached. No, I think the only time that I've always been happy for like my family's success, right? But I think the only time it has happened where I've been, somebody else's salary has been a motivation for me to go out and pursue, another job that, pays me a lot more. And I think that's okay. Like friendly competition like that is okay, right? I think it's probably because like I know like some of my friends, I'm not gonna mention names, like one of my friends got married and well, he was making way less than her. So what he did was he went and got another job, but I think that was just a motivation for them, right? Because in the end, they're married. It's for the benefit of their family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's okay. Like if you're doing like using somebody else's like salary as some type of motivation.
If it pushes you
right
to find a better opportunity, for me that's like good.
Are you guys dropping hints? Like, I need to go update my LinkedIn.
Which if you guys don't have a LinkedIn, I mean, I told Leti, even if you're not looking for another job or you're not open, for a new opportunity, I go, it's always good to keep your LinkedIn profile updated regardless, And that's something like I've always, I don't know, I think a former manager told that to me was like, hey, Abby, you should always have your LinkedIn profile updated. Like not necessarily because you're looking for work, but because networking is like one of the keys to like succeeding in your career or pursuing a new opportunity. Networking, huge. And I'm telling you, like, if you are looking for another job, LinkedIn is kind of like the main site that recruiters use, especially right now. They use LinkedIn, like there's settings on there that you can change to let recruiters know that you're open to a new opportunity and stuff. So, I mean, definitely keep it updated. That's my career tip of the week. No, I'm just kidding.
That's the career tip of the week. Make sure that's really good advice, amiga. I think, sometimes you might not even be looking and something just comes knocking on your door and it's just that perfect opportunity.
Which is kind of what happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be happy with your job. There's that setting where you can allow people to know that you're open for consideration.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I always have that on. I have people reach out to me and I'm happy with my job right now, but you never know if you get that offer, like that dream job that you always wanted. Like if I get somebody that comes to me and goes, Gio, you got all these things on your profile. We want you to be a graphic designer for us. And I'd probably, that's what I've always wanted to do. So yeah, thanks for reaching out. Let's do it. But
And
Yeah,
if you didn't have that updated, I mean, they wouldn't even know. They wouldn't even
Right.
let
it's
you.
just a setting, and I know it says that it hides it from your current employer.
Current employer.
I'm just gonna let you guys know. I always see when my employer looks at my profile, in that way, like for recruiting, because when they're looking to hire people, they go into this certain mode when they're searching for people,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll let you know as a user if somebody
You
somebody is looking for an employee. So I've seen my company land on my profile, so I know they know that I'm open.
Oh,
And
interesting.
you know what, like if they see that and
So
they
LinkedIn's lying? No, I'm just kidding.
no
Allegedly.
no,
Just
but if
kidding.
my
Allegedly.
employer sees that and they're like, oh well, he's open, well, I don't
Maybe
care.
we
Like
gotta,
maybe
yeah.
they need to pay me a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more, so I'm not open anymore.
Dang.
I gotta keep my options open for that. Not just money. For me, it's more about happiness
Mm-hmm.
and growing
Yeah.
as an employee. I mean, I'm really happy right now where I'm at
Yeah.
because I'm learning a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and um,
And
you know,
before COVID, like he traveled a lot for work. I know he enjoyed
yeah.
that, but
I did enjoy. I enjoy going out and having people meet me and figuring out that I'm like a really hard worker. Networking is big for me.
mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, if my employer hears this, I don't care. I've had job offers from some of my customers. People have told me like, "Hey, if you ever want to move here, just let me know. We'll give you
I'm
a
like, no,
job."
we're not moving to Texas.
Only if they
Yeah.
offer you remote positions, right? Because a lot of, like, I think Abby mentioned this on our last episode, a lot of companies are moving towards being,
Oh, yeah.
more remote.
They are.
So, definitely check out LinkedIn. Abby has, since she's recently been like, on the market, the job market, she has a lot of tips that, I mean, even myself, I can, pick up on. So,
Yeah, we'll
I
definitely have more tips coming. Career tips.
Yeah, as the producer, I'm gonna make sure we have that Trello board, right? We talked about it last episode, and we do have a section for career tips
Yeah.
and different things. So we will get to that, we promise. But we just want you guys to get to know who we are first, right?
I think we definitely want to have like Carlos on an upcoming episode so we can find out more about your relationship. And I'd love to kind of hear about how you guys met too. And
we're going to spill all
everything in
the
between.
tea. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah, you guys can have questions for us to answer, the hard ones.
Oh,
and then
yes.
I'm gonna have my bags packed
The juicy
ready
ones.
just in case he answers just in case he answers incorrectly. I'm ready to go. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I feel like we're always gonna bring that cheese, man. We have so many stories.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of stuff on our Trello right now. Even like, because we talked about how we met, right, and how we got together a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's still so much in there that we didn't talk about.
There's 13 years worth. Actually, more than that if you include dating. Dino. Just kidding.
Yeah, you guys have been together for a really long time. And maybe we can even give some tips of like, how you guys have managed to stay together for so long, right? Because
how do you keep the flame alive? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh my God, we could talk about that on our Valentine's Day episode.
Oh, Leti, are you going to give them a sneak peek about what we're going to talk about in our special V-Day episode?
Amigas and Amigos, stay tuned because we will have a special guest on our next episode. And this is my friend, Honeybee. He is a fashionista.
Oh,
and
he's going to come. He's going to bring it. Yes.
Yeah, so he's going to be bringing like a lot of Valentine's Day tips on like what you can wear, sexy time outfits that are currently in. And he's just going to really give it to us because I think not only I need help, but so does, I'm sure, some of our listeners.
Yes.
And, Abby and I will be hitting you guys with a Valentine's Day special next week.
Yes, I'm so excited. So excited. So stay tuned. Yeah. So like we said, stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you guys so much for sitting in, listening into, more of our relationships and everything. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, stay tuned, you guys. We will see you guys in the next episode.
Yep.
Bye, amigas.
And bye, amigos.